So welcome everybody. We are in session number 2 of our class, and I am reminding you that the first 3 sessions of the class are trial sessions where you are supposed to get a better idea of you being able and willing to continue the class, being able to arrange your time, to do the homework, kind of to feel like you are committed to the class, to career change, and so on. So, session 2. We will talk about user interface testing. And the idea of that is there are certain things which do not require much of special skills. I mean, you still need some, but you don't have to know much about the application which you are testing to notice that something is wrong in the way it is shown on your screen. And probably you've seen lots of discrepancies in user interface of the applications you use. And so there are certain rules. Besides everybody, each of us, being able to see some discrepancies, there are certain rules which developers are supposed to follow when they create user interface. And it is easy to learn. You can apply that skill, from the day one of working for your first company. Let me go to my notes for you. Yeah. First of all, it talks about tuition. Guys, see the green button here, payment. That is on your class page. There is a green button. So that is where you go to get to that link, and you can pay. I mean, if you prefer to pay prior to session 4, so you can do it today, you can do it tomorrow, anytime. But anytime you want to pay, you come here and you use Zelle, Swift, PayPal, credit card, whatever. And we have Portnow.net, the class website, the campus website. I'm just reminding you, that is the class page, the one we are using for the first 3 trial sessions. And that is the answer to the question of what brought you to the forum when you register for the school forum. Okay, and we use forum to write your test cases and bug reports for homework. So coming back to the user interface, there are 3 things which are needed to be in place to get a job and to be able to keep the job. To get a job and to keep the job, you need 3 things. So one thing, you have to know how to test, which is same thing as you have to be able to write test cases. Those are 2 ways of saying an exact same thing. You know how to test. You know how to test. Then bug reporting. Definitely. So you test, you run into problems, you report those problems. So that is what has to be in place. And then when it comes to an interview, they will ask you about what's your what is the company where you work, what is the application you tested. Yeah, application, the project. Okay, the project is the same thing as experience. Your experience is not measured in how many years you did one project. Your experience is measured in how many projects, different projects, what kind of projects you have done. So project and experience are synonyms. And that is why we have 2 projects in our class. I mean, bigger projects. We have small things. I'm not counting that. So bigger projects, one we test web application, another one we test mobile application. And so those projects will go to your resume eventually. But Again, 3 components: test cases, bug reports, and projects, talking about the projects. So that is how you get a job. But then when we come to the keeping the job, to test, you have to know the application. You have to know the requirements, because testing means making sure that the requirements are properly implemented. And then it takes time. I mean, sometimes it's just half a day and you are pretty well informed. Sometimes it's a couple of weeks. And guys, believe me, if the application is real complicated, it might be 6 months, sometimes. So, but we are not talking about 6 months. We are talking about something smaller, taking less time. And so meanwhile, if you know the rules of user interface, the rules of how things should look like on your screen, so you can start writing bug reports from the day one, which will impress everybody. And again, besides the functionality testing, the features which are in requirements, there is also testing of user interface, the way it looks. So it is simple, it is easy, everybody can do it, and we will do it together with you. So last time someone asked me, I talked about 3 things needed for job market success, and they asked me to compare the markets, and I used Dice. Since I have a recruiter's license, I used Dice to compare. So we look at the job positions posted and people available in Dice at the moment. But it's not about the numbers, but I would say it is much more about proportions. So you can compare different markets in the United States. And again, we have 5 sessions, eventually on the job search. And when it comes to those 5 sessions, so we can look at today's numbers, and just in case. And again, it will be that file will be in your possession. So that one is for previous session of previous class of January 6. Okay, the first session January 6th, second session January 10th. So yours is going to be right here, same as the first session, May 9th, 2022. Video and notes, the same thing will be here. So you will be able to look at that picture at the proportions later on. So going back to user interface, which is today's topic. So why do we talk about user interface testing at all? And I mentioned that first of all, you start reporting bugs from the day one, which makes a good impression, and it helps you to keep the job. It doesn't help you to get a job, but it does help to keep the job, to make a good impression. Few people have an idea of very existence of user interface rules. They don't know it exists. So, so you bring some not exactly unique, but kind of nice expertise, which other people have no idea about, and so they appreciate there is someone in the team who pays attention. And it's very easy to learn. In terms of terminology, guys, many years ago, computer industry worked primarily with what is called command line user interface. I'll show you something. Let's say you type CMD, command prompt, okay. So that is DOS looked like that. We are in DOS actually, in imitation of DOS. And here I type. For example, I want to move one level of the directory up. I will say cd means change directory, 2 dots, boom. Now I am in C users. Let's do same thing, cd up. Okay, one level up. Now I'm in C. Okay, let's say dir. Dir means show me all you have on C. Show me folders, show me files. Yeah, see, folders are coming with the dir thing. Individual files are coming without the dir. So we have everything. So the communication between computer and user happened like that. So you type something, and where you type is called command line, the line when you put your command. So you type something into the command line, and then it replies in the form of just text, yeah, on your screen. So string versus string and so on. So that is called command line interface, and it was the only one available until Apple came with the Mac computers, and then it changed. It came with what's called graphic user interface. Nice looking screen, drag and drop operations, mouse operations, so that click and double click and all that stuff is called graphic user interface. So let's say 25 years ago, I wouldn't say user interface or UI, I would say GUI, graphic user interface. But because we still had user interface and graphic user interface, command line and graphic user interface. In today's world, people who work under Unix, so lots of them are using user interface, command line user interface, but not many people overall. So in today's world, when you go to a company, they would rather say user interface rather than graphic user interface, just to let you know, okay, there is a difference. So GUI is kind of more used in the past. UI is more used in today's world. So, and we did have that quiz for you, yeah? How many people? Let me refresh. How many people participated? 45. Okay, it's better than 18th last time, but okay. So let's take a look what we've got there. User interface standards and guidelines are established by. When I'm talking to you guys, I'm making an assumption that you kind of prepared. You did the homework for session 2, and that homework includes the webinar on user interface, some of the user interface testing kind of rules, and it has PowerPoint here and a couple of more things. And so that question is kind of based on what you were supposed to find in the homework. So user interface standards and guidelines are established by who? Microsoft, US government, industry best practices, policies of your employer. Okay, it depends what kind of user interface guidelines. For Windows applications, guys, it is Microsoft. It is 100%. Microsoft does it for Windows applications. Apple does it for Mac applications. Apple does it for iOS applications. Android applications. So Google does it for Android. See what I mean? Each company which publishes that platform, that operating system, is responsible for providing user interface guidelines so developers can use them, and now we can also use them to test what developers are creating. US government does that for situations in which there is no ownership. There is no private company which is the owner. So web doesn't belong to any specific company. So government steps in and Uncle Sam says, okay, guys, I will come up with guidelines. Okay. Industry best practices. So what is the question? User interface standards are established by. Okay. You industry best practices, it is something you keep in mind, but it is not who establishes the standard. Industry best practices might be included later on in the official guidelines of Microsoft and Apple and Google, and US government, so on. Policies of your employer. Policies of your employer, or company or team manager, whatever, smaller group, might impact the way you do testing. They might say, we don't care about this, or we want other user interface. Anytime you have a doubt, we want to look like Google Maps. Okay, look how Google Maps does it, so we want it this way. For example, no international conventions, no Stanford University, trying to interfere. Okay, that is pretty much where we are. Pretty much. Let me show you. Okay, here is your page, your class page, and I have a couple of resources here for you. Yeah, specifically the book with link to the book with government guidelines for web applications, usability and user interface. But if you look at your class page, so after first three sessions, those of you who pay the tuition and move to the next level, that is your page. See, we have the previous session here. And when you look at the resources, let me get there. Resources, so we have a little bit more here. So we have for web, we have for iOS, for Android. Yeah, so we give you the link. So in case you might need, or in case you are curious, so you might find it easily. But you can always Google for it. It's not a big deal. Okay. Question number 1, user interface standards and guidelines. So each company does it for its own platform, and government does it for web, because there is no company which owns the web. So far, guys, how are you? How up to date is that information about job markets? It is pretty fresh. It is pretty fresh. And again, it's not exactly about, you shouldn't look at that like something where you see exactly how many openings are there. It's much more about the proportion between jobs and open positions and people available there. It is pretty much fresh. I go to DICE almost every day. I mean, I have a license, a recruiter's license. I go every day, and I see what's happening there, and I'm helping our students to improve their positioning in DICE. For example, if you contact me and they say, Michael, I just posted my resume, my profile on DICE, would you look at it? And that is the requirement, actually. You have to involve me in that. So, and I'm saying, okay, you are in position number 7, but if you do this and this and this, you might be number 1 or maybe number 2. And then you do it, and I control it. So every day I do that for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 students. It's part of my everyday responsibilities. So I only managed to watch the webinar and do yesterday homework. It's fine, guys. It is just fine. Understood, clear. Okay, keep going. So how many people we've got? 138. Keep going. session number 2. I'm sorry, question number 2. Define regression testing. So part of your homework was to repeat interview questions and answers number 1, and then do the survey. Yeah. So we did go through same set of interview questions and answers, but you remember we asked you to move to level 2 from level 1, which is recognizing thing, to the level 2 of being able to answer questions without outside help, just answering the question. So, and that is how you were supposed to do the survey. So define regression testing. So we have dominating answer, making sure that no new errors were introduced while making changes to the code. Very good. Then we have 13%, making sure software is not broken while fixing bugs. It is not correct. You remember, I did show you the school forum, and on the school forum we have that sub forum, software QA interview questions. And then the question was regression testing. Okay. Regression should be somewhere. We have just 2 pages here. Regression testing. Okay, look at that. So what we have on the forum helps you to get more elaborated answers, okay, to the questions, more elaborated, more detailed. And I suggest you to look at those answers every time we come to the question which is represented on the forum, and somehow it takes time to get to that page. I don't know why, but it comes with certain things which you should not say. It has some point where it says avoid saying it is done about fixing bugs. Avoid saying it is done after implementing new features. So it is the point here is it does not matter what was the reason for modifying the code. We don't care, really. So the code was modified. Any modification done to the code might result in certain things being broken. So when you look at your quiz here, it says making sure that no new errors were introduced. Look at that. While making changes to the code. Making changes to the code includes fixing bugs. Fixing bugs is one of the reasons for changing the code. Yeah. So okay. So is it still there? God, I don't know why it takes. Opa. Okay, it happens, guys. What can we do? We can just restart it again. It is not on our side. It is somewhere in the back end. Sometimes it is asking you. Okay, it's here. It might be asking you to come later if you want to, for example, create an account or post something, message or whatever. It says definition: partial retesting of a modified program to make sure that no new errors were introduced while making changes to the code. And we are saying here, developing new or fixing the existing one doesn't matter. There is one more thing I want you to pay attention to. It says partial retesting. Partial is not a definition of regression testing. Partial is a limitation of regression testing. In the ideal world, you would retest the entire code to make sure that nothing got broken. But as a practical matter, you do not have that many resources. And regression testing is something you do for each and every build which comes to QA. So, and it might be once a day. It might be sometimes twice a day, it depends. So you just do not have enough resources to run complete regression testing. So when we say partial retesting, it is a limitation, it's not a definition. The definition is the purpose. So the word regression is about the purpose. The purpose is to make sure there are no regressions, there are no steps back, there is no deterioration of quality. Okay, that is the purpose, making sure that nothing got broken. Okay, and then we elaborate on the definition. We are saying should be done for each new release build. We will talk about builds and releases later on in our class. There is a subtle difference. We do not have enough time to retest software completely, so risk analysis is involved when we decide on which part should be retested. Yeah. It is second in terms of frequency. Build acceptance test or release acceptance or build acceptance is done right after the build is compiled. And the result of compilation is being tested to decide if it is good enough to be given to QA, because the compilation itself is a kind of buggy process. So you might get something which is not good enough to be taken, to be given to QA, to be taken by QA. So there is a test called release acceptance or build acceptance. So build acceptance is the most frequent test because you do it for each and every build. But then some of the builds will be rejected as a result of build acceptance test. So then what the leftovers will come to QA, and QA will do regression testing on it. So regression testing is second to release acceptance, most frequently executed test, which makes it a very good candidate for automation. The more frequently you execute the test, the better return you have on investment of your time when you invest in the automation. And not just time, guys. People who do automation, they make more money. It's just time, not just time, it's time and money. Okay? So you put it there. And automation is not something you do once in a lifetime. You have to maintain that automation. Think about highway. You build the highway, you spend some money, but you know what? Each and every year, you should have a budget for maintenance of the highway. Same with automation. So you need a budget to develop automation, then you need certain budget to keep it working. So to maintain the code. And then it says avoid typical mistakes which people make. That is why I put it here, so you don't go that way. Avoid saying it is done after fixing a bug, to make sure nothing is broken after fixing a bug. No, after changes were made to the code. Okay. After new feature was added. No, it is another reason for changing the code. Developing new or fixing existing one. See? Okay. Don't say it's about making sure the bug was fixed. Many years ago, let's say 30, 40 years ago, in the books, you will find two different aspects of what they call the regression. So one aspect is what I just told you, and another one, they would say fixing the bug, making sure the bug is fixed. Not anymore. Nobody calls that regression in today's world. So you just making sure that bugs were fixed. So you are verifying fixed bugs, something like that. So do not ever bring together, fixing bugs, making sure they are fixed, and saying that is regression. No way. You don't say that. And some people manage to, when they talk about regression, they manage to say it is a manual black box testing. Why in the world it's manual? It's a very good candidate for automation. So it is being automated a lot. And then regression testing could be black box or white box, or I mean, whichever techniques or tools or languages or whatever instrumentation you use. It's not about what you use, it's about why you do the testing. You want to make sure that nothing got broken. It could be black box, it could be gray box, it could be white box. We don't care. So do not ever associate regression testing with manual or automated, with black or gray or white. And the reason we have all four here, guys, is because those four are typical mistakes people make. Don't make those mistakes. Okay, I'm thinking, did we cover regression here? More or less. Okay, let me ask you, guys, are you okay with regression? Do you understand the kind of details of that stuff? So each and every time we bring to the picture more details, we make it more kind of how to say, sometimes I would say more sophisticated, maybe, partial understand, good. Better practice to get used to it. Oh, absolutely. When you start working, guys, I started to teach that class after 2 years of employment in software testing. Just 2 years. And well, I did know a lot. I did automation at that time. I did all the modern technology, used all the modern technology. So it was kind of a very early stage of that profession development, but 2 years was enough to start teaching. And I wanted to start teaching maybe after 1 year, but it took some time to prepare, to start, and finally, to realize that if I would start 1 year after my first day at work, guys, it would be as successful as it was when I started after 2 years of doing that. Same thing, making changes to the source code. Yeah, good. Okay, I'm just not getting kind of many responses from you, which makes me kind of concerned with level of your participation. Okay. Good. So let's go to the session number 3. Question, guys. It's end of the day. I start my first session today. My first class today was at 10 a.m. So I apologize. So what do you prefer, white or black box testing? If you are looking for a job, okay, you have to ask yourself, what kind of job am I looking for? If you are in a white box testing profession, means you are capable of doing white box tester, which is dramatically more sophisticated than black box testing. So people who are able to do white box testing will never apply for black box testing position, because it will kind of bring them down, as they will be paid less, they won't be able to get a good job after that. So people who do white box testing never agree to take black box testing position. Number one. Number two, you are looking for black box testing job. So when you go to the job market after that school, you are looking for black box testing position. And answering that question, guys, is not about glory, because some people, they are all about glory. You can ask them, what do you want to do, doing testing or programming? Pretty much same thing. I mean, similar questions. Yeah, testing or programming. And they have no idea about the programming, but they understand the programming is a more glorious job. And they say, I want to do programming. Do you know C? Do you know Java? Do you know JavaScript? What do you know? Nothing. Why in the world you are saying you want to do programming? So that question is very important. If you say white box, it means you do not, they will not offer you black box. You see what I mean? You say white box, they ask you a couple of questions, they realize you have no idea about white box and how it should be done, and they say thank you very much. They will not reverse to black box testing. You are closing that door. So unless you really are in white box testing business, don't ever say white box testing, say black box testing. I'm looking for black box testing. Let's see what the options are here. But again, you also want to keep as more doors open as possible. So you don't want to shut the doors in front of you. So we have to be careful. Let's see. Black box, it is what I am trained to do. That is kind of miserable. It means I'm a glory guy. I would be doing something glorious, but you know what? Since I'm miserable and my training is miserable and my life is miserable, so that is what I'm trying to do. What else can I do? It has some negative connotation. Okay, I wouldn't go with that one. Automated black box testing. Look, they didn't ask you for automation. It wasn't an option there, number one. Number two, if somehow they told you they do have automation and they do want people to grow into automation, something like that, you can say that, yeah, I want to do automation, I want to grow into automation with your company. But if they didn't tell you anything about being able to offer you the automation, don't say anything, because when you say automation, they will not offer you black box manual testing anymore, because you want automation. You just cannot do it. You are not qualified, but you do not want to do manual. You can say, how come I don't want? Because you said automation. They asked you. Okay, automation is not a good answer here. White box, I like to use programming languages. Yeah, but you have to know them. Yeah. White box, it pays more money. Nobody goes for money. That is good, guys. Money shouldn't be a part of consideration when you talk about your motivation, your kind of values in your life. Black box is easier to do, also not good. Okay, then we have 92%, guys, which is pretty good. Pretty much 93, close to 93. Black box, and you're looking for black box. But I would like to get involved into white box testing as well. If you have the opportunity, if there is a chance, I really appreciate the chance to be involved and to grow into that thing. And guys, everybody should have some room to grow. As a manager, when I am hiring you, one of the questions I'm asking myself is that guy or that girl, what is the room to grow I can offer them? In which direction you want to grow? Do I have that something to offer you in that direction? You know, because I want you to be happy, I want you to be growing, I want to be keeping the job. You know, I don't want you to quit in 3 months because I have nothing to offer you. So the room to grow is a part of the deal, and you expect people. I expect people as a manager, as a hiring party. I expect people to be interested in that room to grow, because if they don't want to grow, I mean, what is their motivation? Are they going to work, or are they going to sleep? Or, I mean, why do I need people who are not willing to grow? So then we have 4 comments here. Okay. In order to answer this question, I need to get job experience in both of them. I think both of them have their advantages and disadvantages. No, that is not a good answer. Okay, let's say you come and I ask you, let's say you are a teenager, and I ask you, what do you want to do? You want to finish the high school, or you want to go to a PhD program? You say, I want to go to PhD program. Oh, no, it's not what you are saying. You are saying, I want to be in PhD program, I want to go to university, I want to be in a high school, and then I will decide which one I look more. Makes no sense, okay? We are not comparing things which are at the same level, skill level, money, I mean, material compensation level, social status level. We are talking about things which are one below another one. So we have lower level and we have higher level. You shouldn't try both to decide if you want to choose lower level or higher level. You always go to higher level. It's not a choice like that. So you have to try. Don't go with that answer, please. Both black box testing and white box testing has pros and cons. No, not really. Not really. I would like to learn both in order to have ability to work effectively. Oh God. It's not about learning, it's about job. Look, we have you come to our company, we have different positions. We have this job and that job. We have multiple jobs. Which one do you want? And you are not going there to be learning what is black box testing. That is the last thing you want to say in your life. Yeah, you do not want to learn what is black box testing when you come to job interview. Currently, I do black box, but I'm going to learn white box testing as well. I am willing to learn white box testing as well if there is an opportunity, okay? Or I will appreciate the opportunity to learn white box testing as well. Yeah, okay, good. But it's not about either one, guys, really. Okay, so we gave you the answers, so we can go. Let's see, I have notes here. Okay. Those notes cover some of the questions, so we will come to them. So what is quality, guys? And we know that quality is a subjective matter, which is pretty much measured as the customer satisfaction. So people like it or people don't like it. There is nothing but subjective in deciding what people like and what people don't like. Different people look at the same thing, and some say it's a high quality thing, and the other people say it's a junk. So quality overall is about customer satisfaction, which is subjective matter. Very good. What are you saying? Let's see what you are writing here. Subjective. Customer satisfaction, improvement in product quality. Definitely you didn't participate in session one, and you didn't do the homework, and it just came out of blue. Okay. There are two perspectives of quality. Okay. And one of them is customer service. No way. Customer satisfaction. Customer satisfaction. And other is tester perspective who wants software to meet standards and requirements. But it's not the software. Look, the question was not about what is software quality. The question is what is quality. It's not about software at all. Just quality. What's quality? What's the meaning of quality? Okay. So guys, that question is kind of generic. It's not about software quality. Okay, number 5. Developers test their code. Common question, common interview questions. Developers test their code. Why would they need testers? And guys, you can't imagine how many developers, many years ago when we started that school, and when lots of developers didn't see a tester, in their team, and they were saying, why do we need testers? We test our code. I'm a developer, I write my code and I make sure it's working. Why would I need a tester? Okay. Now that question is, we are discussing that question so you understand better what kind of profession it is. And so we still have people who will tell you that, who will tell you Nobody needs testers. Developers test. I mean, many years ago, when QA came to life, experienced developers could tell you that. In today's world, people who are kind of would-be developers, people who have no idea of development yet, but they pretend to grow in that direction or learn in the profession, or people with pretty much miserable knowledge of what development process is about. So they might not know. Some of them, they don't know. So why? And what are you, oh, I'm sorry, what are you telling us? To optimize work process because developers don't have a lot of time. I don't know what you're saying optimizing. In that case, it's more about optimization of expenses, of the cost. You cannot replace the development when developer does testing. Developer does white box testing from developers kind of side. Part of that, maybe some part of that, could be given to people with lower skill level. For example, we have white box testers who are not exactly developers, but they can program. They're much more skilled than black box testers, so they can help developers. So definitely, developers are kind of in deficit. So we do not have kind of the market with tons of developers, trying to get a job. Not really. So we have to find people who might be testing, even though they cannot do development. But I won't really go into details like that. Software testers play an essential role during application development. I would appreciate, everybody would appreciate, if you understand the question. Okay? The question is, developers are testing. Why in the world they need someone who tests and who is not a developer? Why do we need extra people who are not developers? So that is the question. Why they are playing that essential role? Before the product is released, software testers detect bugs and trace issues. Hey, the question is not what testers are doing. The question is why we need testers if we have developers who are testing. Approved license. What the hell is that? Testers test new product thoroughly to ensure they have no bugs after. Again, it's not the question what they do, it's the question why do we need them? Testers are needed for verification, validation. Oh God, it's a disaster. Yeah. You know what's the disaster? You do not watch, you do not do the homework because we answered that question. Okay, finally we get one. Doing negative and regression testing. Yes. Developers test their software, making sure it works. Okay. Then they move to fix bugs and to develop more features, and they will not do regression testing. I mean, maybe some very basic thing, but really, they're mentally they are not up to regression testing. Their job is to develop new things, and they are testing the new things they keep developing. They are not testing the code they developed a month ago, or 3 months ago, or even last week. They are not in business of regression testing. So if you do not have black box testers, guys, your regression testing is pretty much zero. Okay. Then negative testing. Again, the nature of software development, the certain mentality developer has. The mentality of developer is to implement software in such a way that if user does it right, user gets the result. That is where the focus is. 99% of the focus is there. So if testers do not do negative testing. Nobody does negative testing. If testers do not do regression testing, nobody does regression testing. So that is why companies need testers. And that is why you need to do the homework. Okay. So hopefully you will recover over the weekend. You will have more time and you finally do the homework, guys. It comes with certain effort. Okay. And there is one more reason. Let's see. Yeah, we have it here. Developers test their code. What software testers are needed for? So regression testing, negative testing, and testers are looking at bigger picture. See, when developer works on certain code, there are certain elements, components, of that code, and each developer is given a couple of components to develop. Another word for component is unit. So developer works on, let's say, 3 units of code. And that is where the focus of developer is. Those units communicate with multiple other units in the product. But we have a team working, and each member of the team does some, units assigned to that team member. And units have to communicate with each other. And when tester does testing, and he doesn't go into the code, he is looking at that black box tester. He is looking at that from user perspective. So he does kind of end-to-end, kind of step-by-step, multi-step transactions. Let's say you have to create a checking account in the bank. It might involve 25 units of code. And so you look at the result of how those 25 units communicate with each other to provide that functionality. Developer doesn't have 25 units of code under control. He has just a few. So in people who are in QA business, they are in between developers and users. So they look at the software from user perspective. Okay. So and they are seeing much larger chunks of software, which brings an additional perspective, to software testing. And developer who develops 1 unit, 2 units, 3 units will not go for big chunk of software, to test. It's not his responsibility. So, okay. So we talked about why testers are needed. Okay, guys. So you tell me now why testers are needed. Who needs testers? 3 reasons why testers are needed, even though developers test software 40 times, maybe more than 40 times of 40% and more of development time is testing. Why in the world we need so many testers? We need 1 tester for 1 developer on average. I'm not saying everywhere, but we need so many people to test. It used to be 20 years ago, it used to be 10 developers and 1 tester. And now we have 1 developer and 1 tester. Didn't understand the 3rd point. Imagine that we have an automobile, okay, and you are testing that automobile. And some people are developing components of the automobile. So some people are working on engines, some people are working on electronics, some people are working on brakes. And as a tester, okay, you do not test engine or brakes. You test the automobile. You get into that automobile, and all the systems are working together. So, and your focus is different. You are testing the automobile, or let's say certain aspect of what that automobile is about. And there are multiple developers responsible for smaller pieces of that. So developer responsible for small piece will not see what you will see as a tester when you deal with many pieces. So that is the idea. Is it better now? Developers are busy, so testers do negative and regression testing. It's not just about being busy, but developers are making much more money. So if you can hire testers for half the price, do that. So you save lots of money. And it's not just developers being busy, but it's about developers not being available. You cannot get them a lot. It is one of the reasons. But I wanted that explanation to come not from economical considerations, or job market considerations, but from technology. Fresh eyes. It's not about fresh eyes. Don't say that. It is not about fresh eyes. You have fresh eyes maybe 2 weeks after you join the company. Then you don't have fresh eyes. No. Regression negative, looking for from user perspective. It's not exactly user perspective. You are looking from user perspective at much bigger part of the software. Developer also looks from user perspective at his piece of code. Developer can do it and runs the application and pretends to be user. A developer is able to look from user perspective, but developer looks from user perspective at small piece which he develops. Tester looks from user perspective at much bigger piece which multiple developers might be creating. That is the idea. Bigger picture, good. Negative and regression, good. Negative regression. Another point of view. You have to explain what's another. I mean, really, another says nothing. I have no idea which point of view you are talking about. Make sure it works from everything. Proper testers need to make sure it works from something. Is off, error on end user. No, not really. It's not what I said. Testers are needed for negative and regression testing. Moreover, they are looking at bigger picture as they deal with the whole product, not only some isolated parts. Perfect. Katya, you've got the gold medal today. Good. Look at the product from user point of view. No, it's not what I said. Black box testing is about looking from user standpoint, but developer can do it. The question is why we need someone else if developers do that. Developers did that before testers came to life. I mean, in 80s, in early 90s, developers did testing and nobody had testers. Developers can do black box testing too. I mean, what's the problem? See what I mean? So, okay, guys, practice. Going back to the question number 6. Yeah, 6. Keep going. What is gray box testing? You can see gray box spelled with E or A at that place. So gray one way or another way, it's fine. Now, gray box testing, some people would tell you it is a combination. It is not. It is not a combination. Gray box testing. Okay. Gray box testing is an extension of black box testing. Extension of black box testing. So you will have certain tools or maybe programming languages to go beyond the user interface. So you will need some additional knowledge and maybe tools. Yeah. Most of the web testing, by the way, is gray box when you test web application, and it's a part of your class actually. So you will do some. So tools or programming languages will be used okay, to get beyond the interface. And then we have a couple of examples. We have 3 examples. You will use a little bit of SQL here for testing, how SQL is used in testing. So let's say you create a record. We test Amazon.com. So user buys a book. So as a black box tester, you go and pretend to buy a book. And then what happens, if we have what's called the 3-tier architecture, means you have 3 different servers working together on that application. So we have application server, web server, application server, and database server. Think about server as a computer. We have 3 different computers running different software, and each and every server generates log file. Whatever happens, it is logged into that file. And log files are huge. One of the things, I jumped to number 2. Okay, so one of the things when it comes to log files is we have to make sure that the system writes into the log files what should go to log files. So that is one of the things. You might use Perl, you might use C#, whatever language is will be used for that. So parsing and analyzing log files is what one of example of gray box testing. SQL statement. So you create a transaction, and besides the log files, in the database there is a record now, maybe multiple records about that purchase, that transaction, and it has lots of information there. So you write SQL statement which will bring you the data from the database, so you can compare the data which is expected to be there and the data which is actually there, which is not always the same, guys. I mean, your last name might go into your zip code field. Maybe your let's say first name might be cut in half, and second half is lost, or data is just corrupted. It comes in weird characters. I mean, lots of different things might happen to the record in the database. So when you use SQL statements to bring the data and see that integrity is there, so whatever you typed in is there, from the form it goes to the record. So that is an example of gray box testing. You will learn how to do that, by the way. It's not a big deal. It is not a white box because you do not have access to the source code. You do not use access to the source code of the application. It is not black box testing because you do not see it on your screen. It's not something given to user. It is in between. Okay, so you do not get to the source code. That is why it is an extension of black box. It is still black box, but it requires certain knowledge and certain tools, maybe some languages. So that is why we call it gray box, because it moves toward white box, but it's not white box. Another example is REST API testing. It is called either REST API testing, or sometimes it's called web services testing. Something specific to web applications, and Postman is a tool for testing REST API. We have sessions on that, so you're going to be able to do it after that class. So that is gray box. That is gray box. 3 examples of the gray box. What are you saying here? You are saying, I didn't understand that. Definitely you didn't do the homework, because if you do the homework for session 2, you would come to, at the end of the whole thing, you would come to watching the session 2 recording here for the previous class, where we discussed exactly that. You just didn't do the homework, which might be something related to not having enough time in between yesterday and today, maybe. But you have opportunities to recover. Combination of white box and black box, not really. And if we go to the forum we have, yeah, Remember, on the forum we have elaborated explanations. Where is white box here? Do we have white box test regression? No, we don't have white box. Yeah. Oh, no, I'm sorry, a gray box. Yeah, we should have a gray box. Okay. I think we should. I don't know. I think we should have it too. Attractive frequently regression. We don't have it. Okay. I thought we do. It's fine. Use information about structure, design, and environment to improve and enhance the black box testing. Yeah, well, the more elaborated one is in your interview questions and answer for session 1, I believe. Yeah, quality assurance testing, black, describe. No, a negative use case. Oh, yeah, okay. Black, white, gray. Gray box testing is using structural, design, and environment information, complete or incomplete, whatever knowledge you have, to expand or focus black box testing and to enhance testing productivity by using appropriate methods and tools. That is the point. Okay? It is not a combination. It is not. Yeah, structural design, environment information. So someone did the homework. Okay. Okay. Combination of white box and black box. The aim is to search for defects, if any, due to improper structure and proper usage of applications. I don't know where you got that. So probably you were Googling for some stuff. I don't know. I'm just trying to Google for that. Yeah, Guru 99, gray box testing, purpose of search defects due to improper code. I don't know, guys. Why in the world you would go somewhere and search for that stuff if we give you the definition, you know? And combination of white box and black box is a complete ignorance. You cannot say that if you need a job, and you cannot think that way. And I don't know where you can actually find that. I mean, there are some places, but why would you go to those places? Why don't you study? I mean, if you came to my class, why don't you study from me? Yeah? Okay, keep going. Okay, number 7. What are the common stages of software development life cycle? You remember we looked at that last time. And so what we have: planning, requirements, design, build. Build is probably coding, programming, okay? Documenting, testing, deployment, maintenance. I would suggest you to learn how to write that stuff in English. Really, I mean, it's important. Also, I would suggest you not to put comma after space. I mean, when people see that, they might think you are doing a sloppy job, and you don't want that. The common stages are analysis, requirements, implementation, testing, documentation, and method. I would suggest not to use the word implementation here. And I mentioned last time, but I'm repeating that because implementation might be also used for installing and training and that stuff. So say coding or programming or development. So it's clear they are working on programming, on coding. Analysis of software elements, software specification, check create software master draw. Master draw has nothing to do with how people describe stages of, and comma also helps. If you put commas, I cannot really read that. Analysis, requirements, design, coding, testing, maintenance. Yeah, nice, very nice. How many? 6 stages. Analysis, design, implementation, testing, deployment. Deployment is not the necessary part, I mean, sometimes deployment is a stage, and sometimes deployment is not needed at all. It's not common. It is not a common stage. Requirement analysis. Oh God. I don't like that the first part here. Requirement analysis. And then planning. What the hell is planning then? What's planning? Software design. So we have analysis. One stage is analysis, which is primarily business analysis. Then we have requirements. Then we have design, and I don't know. I'm surprised with that one. I mean, I understand you maybe copy pasted that from somewhere, but why don't you use it from us? We teach you that stuff. We give you the stages, and it helps. It helps. If you want me to be happy with you, okay, just learn what I teach. Typical problems in software requirements are. You remember that session 1, yeah. You remember at the very bottom of that page with questions and answers for session 1, we had that more, yeah, for waterfall software development lifecycle, and it brings us here. And we have, first of all, we have different stages. So we have software elements analysis, and then requirements. Then we have architecture, implementation, testing, documentation, training and support, which is not exactly a common session in documentation nowadays, and then maintenance. But when they talk about software elements analysis, there are a couple of things which might go wrong with requirements. And so, incomplete, ambiguous, or contradictory requirements, incomplete, ambiguous, or contradictory requirements are recognized by skilled and experienced software engineers. You remember the question, what is the maximum contribution testers can make? Well, they can find incomplete, ambiguous, or contradictory requirements at early stage. So then it will not go into design. It will not go into the code, So nobody will run into the problems later on. So they have to go back and now change requirements, change design, change the code. So again, those 3 keywords: incomplete, ambiguous, or contradictory requirements. Incomplete, ambiguous, contradictory. And that is where we are answering the question. So typical problems in software requirements are ambiguous, incomplete, yeah, ambiguity, incompleteness, contradictory. Okay, and then some garbage, repetitiveness, forgiveness, duplication, two-dimensional, some garbage. Guys, you are pretty good with that stuff. With that specific question, you're very good. We have 3 people who skipped, who didn't answer the question, but still, it's pretty good. That is good. That is I like. Who is better tester, guys? By the way, anything we have here? Regression. Yeah. In your file, what are the common stages of software development lifecycle? And we talk about waterfall model. We are saying analysis, requirements, design, coding, testing, maintenance. That's it. That is what we want you to bring to the to the table as an answer. Okay, and it is in your file, so you have it. Who is a better tester? The one who submits more bug reports, or the one who has more bugs fixed? Interesting, guys. So you write 100 bug reports, and only 10 bug reports are fixed because you report garbage. You report things which nobody wants to fix, or things which nobody understands what you really want to say. So your work is waste of resources, because out of 100 bugs, they fixed only 10. Now I write 30 bug reports, and 27 are fixed. So my kind of rating is 90%, success, 90% success. And your rate is 10% success. So I am 3 times better tester than you are. No, I'm sorry, not 3 times. I mean 9 times. I'm 9 times better. I have 90% and you have just 10%. So in a real world, so we have to let you go and find someone who writes good bug report. So who is better tester? The one who creates more impact on the quality of the product. What is your impact? What is your contribution? Who contributes more to the quality? The one who has just few bugs fixed out of 100, or the one who has pretty much all the bugs fixed? The more bugs are fixed, the more contribution you make. That is the idea, guys. It's not about writing bug reports. It's about fixing them. It's about improving the software. Who needs your bug reports if they are not fixed? Okay, let's make sure we are on the same page, guys. Do you understand why? The one who has more bugs fixed is a better tester? He contributes more to the changes, to the positive change of the product. The more bugs are fixed, the more contribution. And we are assuming that bugs found are of same kind of level of severity. Yeah? So it's not like one reports 100 user interface bug and another reports 10 very severe functionality bugs. We are talking about same kind of level of bugs. But what happens, it's not about how many you reported. It's much more about how many were fixed, so they became a part of the product. What's your contribution to the quality of the product? Only in things which are fixed. Regression negative. I thought that you asked to say that, in other words, not to copy paste the notes. Definitely, it's a very good idea not to copy paste the notes. But when you say it in your own words, it should be something which is correct. Not enough. It is not enough to do not be copy pasted. It is the first thing is it should be correct. Okay. It comes over time, guys. You cannot be perfect quality. When we have session number 2, we have 100 sessions in that class, 100 hours in that class. So you are just at the very beginning. You didn't even commit to the class. So I'm just pointing to certain things so you understand what's involved and where your focus is going to be. Okay, so we are not graduating yet. There is a gray box answer. There is a gray box answer. I don't know what you mean, but we provide the answer. Yes. Michael, I'm sorry. Why your list in the notes is missing the documentation? Because is it meant to be included in testing? Honestly, I do not understand your question. So you mean documentation as a stage of software development, but it might not have that stage. Doesn't have to. Many years ago, let's say in 90s, where each and every piece of software would come with a manual, with a book like that, and we had technical writers, and they would write help, and they would Windows applications, they would write help, they would write a manual, and you buy bugs with software, and 90% of that bugs is taken by the book. So documentation. So we will test the documentation. Yes, in today's world, documentation is almost nothing. And in terms of testing, unless you work in a specific organization where documentation is critically important and that stuff. I don't know what's your list in the notes is missing the document. Which list? More contribution, quality of bugs. Yes. So you might have bugs of poor quality. You have to sell that bug, guys, to the developer. Developer might not understand what you want. Developer might disagree with you, or you might be reporting things which nobody cares about. And also, developer has lots of bugs. Let's say I'm a developer, and I said, okay, next 2 hours I will fix bugs. Next 2 hours I will fix bugs, and I have 100 bugs available to be fixed. And I'm thinking, okay, if I'm going to spend 2 hours on fixing bugs, I would rather fix 10 bugs than 3. Yeah. So Michael is writing good bug reports. Each and every bug report I'm going to fix. And let's say David is writing poor bug reports. I will spend lots of time. And so instead of fixing 10 bugs, I will fix maybe 3. And the rest of it is going to be a waste of time. He might not even look at your bug. You have to sell your bugs to developer. See what I mean? You have to be a good tester. Developer should say, oh, Michael writes a bug. Okay, let's go. Let's jump on it. It's going to be a good bug. Okay, you cannot trash the bug tracking system. You know, you cannot trash some other people's time. You have to come with good bug reports. And that is what we study in that class, guys. We are jumping on bug reports with the next session. Clear now? Okay, it's confusing because question was about testers who do not fix the bugs. Yes, for sure, they make big contribution. Yeah, the more changes, positive changes, so the more of a contribution. If you find all possible bugs, it's not possible, but if you find all possible bugs, why not fix all of them? But first of all, it's not possible to find all the bugs, number one. Number two, when software goes to customers, you have to look at bug tracking system. And when you get into company, when you look at their bug tracking system, when you see how many bugs are there, known bugs, when software goes to customers, you will be surprised. It might be hundreds, it might be sometimes thousands of bugs we know about, and we just didn't have time to fix them. We said, okay, next time, maybe later, whatever, because we have deadline, we have to let it go. So we focus on things which are, we call them showstoppers. Yeah, showstoppers. What kind of show does it stop? The release. Okay, so there are certain things which you cannot really send to customers, so they will fix that stuff. And software will go with tons of bugs, known bugs. Eventually, yeah, maybe we'll fix it, maybe not, we'll see, whatever. So if you find as many bugs as you can, they all get fixed, you are a great tester. No. Because what we know about your bugs, nobody wants to fix them. Either you write bugs which nobody can understand, or you write bugs which do not improve quality of the product and nobody wants to fix them anyway. That is the answer. So first of all, you have to learn how to write a bug which people want to fix. Okay. Unless you learn how to write bug reports which company fixes, you're going to lose your job. Okay. The list that you showed us when talking about stages of waterfall model Anyway, I think I understood that you meant documentation is not mandatory in all cases. No, not really. Absolutely. And if you go to the, you remember last time I did go to Google and I was searching for SDLC, software development lifecycle, and we look at many pictures. Some of them did have documentation, but it was not about testing documentation. Documentation stage might be a part of the development process, and the right documentation, yes, it doesn't mean you gonna test the documentation. It really depends on how the process is structured. And I used to test documentation because we didn't have people who test documentation instead of us. You can't imagine how difficult it is. You might do it for 2-3 hours the most, and then you get asleep. You cannot test documentation for 8 hours a day. Guys, it is unthinkable. You cannot test documentation even 3-4 hours a day for 3-4-5 days, in a row. You cannot spend a week testing documentation every day for 3 hours. You cannot. You hate that documentation. You hate that company. You hate yourself. You hate people who wrote that stuff, And the worst case scenario is when there is an idiot, real idiot, who takes that documentation, let's say that much. Let's say we have 5 testers, and he says, okay, pages 1 to 100 is for you, 100 to 200 is for you, 300 to 400 is for you. So they split that documentation, they give different people different pieces, and now we have a complete disaster. Complete disaster. And I was a part of that crap. So I did, guys, you can't imagine how terrible it is. But you were saying here, Svetlana, Katya, why your list is missing the documentation? Because it is meant to be included in testing. Okay, that is what you mean. Documentation is a part of testing. No, documentation might be a stage of software development lifecycle. And who is testing documentation is a different question. Normally, documentation is being created by technical writers. So companies have staff technical writers. Not all of the bugs developers want to fix. Guys, next time, Thursday, we will talk about that in greater detail, but please do the homework. And we will discuss about who makes sure that the bug is actually fixed. It is not up to developer to decide, actually. So there is someone who assigns that bug to developer, and along with the bug, the bug report, developer gets the bug report along with the priority. Okay, priority. We have relative priorities: high, medium, low. So if someone just, whoever does that assignment says low, 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 okay, so you might never actually get there to fix them because you have more higher priority bugs to fix. Yeah? So it's not that it's not that kind of straightforward. I mean, there are some details. You fix only those bugs that will help to improve, make the product better, since it may have 1,000 bugs and you can work only on certain bugs. It's not us. We are not fixing. Yeah, developers are fixing. We are reporting. So you report the bug, and then let's say development manager who assigns the bug. Development manager looks at the bugs and says, okay, Michael is going to fix it. Priority high means as soon as possible. Priority medium, after you finish the high. Priority low, after you finish the high priority and medium priority, and then you go to the low priority. Okay? So someone who knows, I mean, really knows what's happening. Okay, so we'll do that. Maybe project manager, maybe development manager, someone who has the authority to assign work to developers. Tester doesn't have an authority to assign the work, okay, and to say, okay, this one goes first, this one goes second. It's not how it works. Could you show in that page, can I see all course and recorded webinars from 4 sessions to the last? Could you show in what page I see all course? After you enroll in the class, means you pay the money, you will get to that page. You will get to that page. And we have another page. Let me show you. It's called, do I have a link now? Video. That page, that is a video archive. No, I'm sorry. It's not. I'm sorry. It's a different one. Video. Okay, so we have the video archive. Yeah. So that stuff goes. That is about how to look for a job. Then we have software testing, kind of related things. Then we have 10 sessions on SQL. If you want to get deeper into SQL, so we have 10 sessions on SQL. Then we have some bonus sessions, some visitors coming and whatever. So resume writing, REST API testing with probably, I'm not sure what's in there. Some details. More on bug reports, more interview questions, and then we have QA Express is a class on campus, which I was teaching, and that is the recording of me teaching that class in the classroom. Then we have Gray Box with Perl 3 sessions, and REST API with JavaScript. Then we have XML and JavaScript and HTML and HTML5. We have many more classes on campus itself. So in that library, we have videos recorded on campus. And then we have WebDriver. You have test automation in your class. You have 20 hours of test automation. But on the top of that, we have WebDriver with Java, 40 hours. We have WebDriver with Python for another 40 hours. Testing mobile applications by Yvette. Yvette is a very special person. So, but you have a chunk of the class which is about mobile applications testing in your own class. Then we have projects. You're going to have 2 projects in your class, and here we have recorded projects from previous classes. We have GeniTrack is a kind of GPS stuff. Beam is pretty much same as Viber. And then a few more, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have many projects which you can add to your resume if you want more projects. So that is video library. But besides that, we have, that is your class page. And it starts with what I teach. Here are 20 sessions which I teach. And then video library link. And then we have web project, which is 6 hours. Then we have backend testing. We have 4 sessions on backend with Unix. We have 4 sessions backend testing with SQL. Then we have REST API testing. So certain discussions about Agile, Kanban, Scrum, that stuff. And then we run into mobile stuff. And that in mobile stuff, we have many sessions. Each session is 2 hours. So we talk about theory and we do the project. Okay, and then you run into session 1, first resources, then session 1, session 2, session 3, and then it goes to numbers 16. Session 16 is where we start the job market issue. So 16 is about job market. 17, we have no recording posted because it does have some sensitive information. I give it to graduates when they go to the job market. I do have recording, but I give it individually. You have to request it. I will give you I will give you the one so you can do nice profiling. And so few more session 19 and okay. So that is how the class goes. I'm not sure if I answered your question. If that was the question. So and you can always go if we talk about the recordings. You can go, let's say, session. Okay, here is the page for a class or January of 6, which just finished, and that is the complete class with all the links and recordings and documents and files and God knows what, and yeah. Or it could be September 6th, the previous one, and you have access to all of them with all the different projects and different things. But again, most of it is the same, but still, so you have access to all the recordings of previous classes, and you have access to all the live and recorded future classes. So we have unlimited access to what we have in the school. For example, we are about to finish the class. Let me show you that class, which we do for people who live mostly in Russia, Ukraine, Belarus, that part of the world. SU1, yeah. And each and every session there is supported with subtitles in Russian and English. So let's say you take that video, let's say mastering test cases. Let me open it. Yeah, you see English subtitles, but I can go for Russian subtitles. Okay. So we do have that stuff too. The only problem here, guys, you need time. So time is a precious resource. You might have it or you might not have it. But we do have tons of resources, and they are given to you. So we are not hiding any resource from you. You just have to have time and interest, in doing that. So I guess it's incorrect that for a first step, looking bigger mistakes in code, and only after the developer tried to fix another problem. It is not kind of what we decide on. Okay, so your job is to write a bug report, and then there are people who are deciding which one goes first and which one doesn't go at all. Okay, so there is a methodology, and it's not about you or me or someone else criticizing that methodology. We are not in business of methodologies. We are in business of following the rules of the game. So you come, here are the rules, we just follow the rules. First of all, developer will fix high priority bugs, most of all functional cases. Definitely developer is supposed to do high priority bugs first. I mean, definitely that is why priorities are assigned to the bug report. So developer knows which one goes first. Okay, good. Guys, again, software testing as a profession is primarily about common sense. So it's not exactly technical, especially when you start your first job or second job. It is not exactly technical. So it becomes technical when you want to make 150,000 a year, 200,000 a year. Then it becomes technical. Up to 100,000, even more sometimes, you don't really have to be very technical. And the uniqueness of software testing profession is in technical aspects and business aspects being equally important. So understanding the business aspects, understanding the human aspect, understanding usability, understanding being able to view that software through the eyes of the customer. And specifically, let's say you have medical background, so you are the #1 candidate for hiring by the company which is in the medical devices or medical software or whatever medical business. We have in Silicon Valley here, we have like 50 of those. And because you cannot test it unless you understand what it does from medical kind of perspective. So software for hospitals, guys, think about it, Kaiser Permanente or whatever, each and every big hospital chain, who tests their software? People who understand the hospital business. And so whatever software exists, so if you know that line of business, it gives you an additional advantage. So your personality, your life experience, your maturity are important. That is why in software testing you might be 45 years old and 55 years old. You know what? It's not a big time, negative aspect, because you have life experience. You are tolerant to routine. You are not jumping, from place to place like you would do it at age 21 or 25 even, So there are so many advantages of being older, so many advantages of being educated, whatever area, so many advantages of having whatever life experience or professional experience you might have. That is why software testing is unique. When I started that school in '94, guys, I was the only one teaching that stuff. Look around now. So, I mean, whoever has a laptop now is teaching software testing. Why don't they teach web development? Why don't they teach DevOps? Why don't they teach, I don't know, something? Because other professions, other niches are technical, specifically technical, and business aspect and work experience and life experience and maturity and whatever doesn't matter. If you want to be a developer, you'd rather be younger, okay? Someone who is 25 years old has maybe 3 times more productivity than someone who is 45. Sorry. I'm 66, by the way. Yeah, so I know I did go through all that stuff. I remember myself being 16. I remember myself being, I don't know, 28. At 28, guys, I was able to sleep the entire week, to sleep 3-4 hours a day and still be okay. At age 35, I wasn't able to do that anymore. Yeah. So what I'm saying, it is an absolute unique profession where non-technical things are as important as technical. So regarding not so technical job level 100K, what week number in the class schedule would suffice? What week number? I do not understand. Week number, what's week number in the class schedule would suffice? I do not understand the question. So not so technical. Making 100K, you think it's too much? Guys, I can tell you that when we look at people who are getting jobs, just think about it. It is almost impossible, somewhat possible, but almost impossible to get your first job at less than $40 per hour in today's US market. $40 per, so 80K for just finishing that school. I mean, so that is okay, yeah? But imagine if you do that for 6 months and you go to the job market again, you're going to get $50 per hour because you are much stronger than you were 3-6 months ago. So 100K is just I mean, you can be there within your first 6 months or maybe 1 year of employment. What is 100K today? I mean, nothing. So $40 an hour is not realistic on today's market after 3 months. I don't know which market you are talking about and which profession you are talking about. And if you want to teach me what the job market is about, you are definitely in the wrong position. Okay, I'm teaching here, and I have been doing that since 1994, and I know the rates. And if you study the rates on Indeed or whatever, maybe that is why you come to that class to learn from someone. So otherwise, you would be in that kind of fantasy world where you are right now. The class schedule is broken down 2 weeks. Week 4, day 2 begins Agile Scrum. Which week would be enough to get the not so technical job? Okay, your question is, guys, very good question. The question is, when is a good time to start? Joseph, I'm rephrasing your question, and you tell me if that is exactly what you wanted to ask. So you're asking how soon you might go to the job market. Yeah, is it the question? To get that not so technical job at $40 per hour? Yeah, that is the question. You want to finish the first project. The first project. Okay, let's go to your schedule. Here is the schedule. No, it's not your class. Okay, that is your class. We go to your schedule. Schedule of classes. Okay, that is your schedule. We'll look at Jana teaching the project. Okay, that is where Jana starts the project. Web testing project 1, 2, and 3. So basically, week number 6, you could be on the market already. Somewhere here, could be on the market already. You can start even sooner than that, but I would say week 4, right here, we can do your resume. Week number 4, and week number 5, you start sending your resume out. People are not going to schedule interviews next day. So technically speaking, June 1st, okay, June 1st, you can, let's put it that way, June 1st, you can go to the job market if you are passionate of going to the job market. If you will be watching the job search related videos, you can go to the previous class. Yeah, remember, you can go to the January 6th class. You can I will ask you to go and complete sessions 15, 16, 17, 18, all that stuff, so you understand how to answer interview questions and all that stuff. 1 month, June 1st, yeah, you can do it. I mean, look, from my perspective, the sooner you get the job, the better. That is why we are here. Then the sooner you go to the job market, the sooner you get the job. So basically, I don't mind, and really I support people to go to the job market sooner rather than later. And again, it's never like half of the class going to the job market in a month. It could be 2 people, maybe 3. And I want you to get the job before the class completes, so you motivate the rest of the people. So you will work personally with me on your job search and all other things and so on. The salaries of junior QA testers in Los Angeles, California range from 48 to 72. Nazar, okay. You have to decide what to do after, okay? What you are writing here, I mean, copy pasting that stuff is a total and absolute garbage. Just remember my words, total and absolute garbage. Now you have to make a choice. you are with garbage or you are with me, okay? That is the choice. If you are with me, you stop bringing garbage to that classroom, okay? There is no teacher if there is no student, okay? I'm not learning from you. I don't care. I mean, when it comes to the subjects I teach, I'm not learning from you. If you want to learn from me, you're welcome. If you don't want to learn from me, it's okay. It's up to you. It's your choice. But I cannot be your teacher if you come with that garbage and you position yourself as someone who has knowledge. Garbage. Sorry, I mean, just garbage. If not indeed, then where should we monitor the QA job market? We teach you that. We teach you that. What do you mean? And you don't have to monitor anything. You just have to be on the job market. Why would you monitor anything? We have sessions on that stuff, and so you, I mean, really, and we teach you how to do that. And when it comes to the job markets, actually, you post your profile on Dice. I have license for Dice. I do not have licenses for other places. Sometimes I go for a month just to make sure I know how it is operated. So you create your profile. I go there and I tell you how to correct the whole thing. So you are number one, number two in the area where you are when they search for QA stuff. And so. If not needed when monitor QA job market. You don't have to monitor anything. So you are doing your research. You have to know how to do the research. That is the difference. That is why you pay money. So you come to the place where I can tell you it is a garbage. And if you rely on garbage, so then that is what your life becomes. I don't know why these people are coming with garbage. It all depends. Let's say you do that on Indeed. It probably means they post forms and people who have no job because they are. If people are busy at work, they will never go and to fill out that crap. But listen to me. Making 48K in Los Angeles in QA. I cannot even imagine that. We have people who graduate from that class making 80K, 85K. It is common. It's just a lot. I mean, very high percentage of people, when they get permanent jobs, they are getting 80, 85K. It's common. It's just commonplace. Where they find people who make 48, I cannot imagine how is it people. Where are they? Why I don't know anybody? And in Los Angeles is one of the most expensive places in the United States. So in terms of salaries, I would say number one is New York, number two is Silicon Valley, number three is Los Angeles. Because they pay lots of money in Los Angeles. Okay, guys, let me see if I can stop. Okay, guys, let's do it this way. I will stop the recording because I don't want that to go on record, and then I will continue. Okay, would you mind? So if I show you something? By the way, guys, that chat, the trial chat, don't ever write anything there in between sessions, please. Please. So you write in that trial informal chat. Okay, that is where you write. Okay. Let me stop the. Okay, guys. Can you hear me now? Okay. I just tried to stop recording, but it also stops my voice. Okay, guys. Let's do it this way. Let's do it this way. I will finish the session, and then just stay stay there. I will send you another invitation, and we will do another thing. So I show you exactly what the value of that is. Okay. Okay. So guys, we are done. Do the homework. We'll meet next time, Thursday. And thank you very much for being with me today.